Well, from what I understand, you guys have been pen pals for quite a long time.
Yes.
Tell me how that came about and when it started.
For me, when I was 11 years old, my teacher said, bring in 50 cents tomorrow and I'll get you 3 pen pals. Well, I brought my 50 cents in and I got one in France. Only spoke French, so that fell by the wayside. I got one in England. We wrote for a while and that fell by the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
But I got Annie, and she was in Australia, and we've been writing for the last 60 years.
Oh, wow.
We've known each other. So it was through school. And, we don't know what kind of a program it was, but that's what started it.
Was that a similar your experience for you?
Well, I don't remember the details of that, but I do know it was through our school, and I was in 5th class at the time, which is when we were 11, so it would have been 1959 that the teacher started that, and we were lucky enough that our parents allowed us to continue to write because we were only little kids, so we'd have pocket money and buy the stamp. But Karen remembers, and I used to have them, you used to get an aerogram, and it was one sheet of very fine paper and it folded over, and you'd write on that, fold it up, and lick it down, and that was...
So your envelope was your letter, basically.
Yes, and it was very, very fine, thin paper, so it didn't weigh much. So you bought that, and when it all folded up and you licked it, stuck it down, you posted it without having to pay.
In the United States, it was 50 cents in those days, which was quite expensive because our regular stamps were like 8 cents, so...
Is that what you used also?
Yeah, same thing.
So what kind of things did you write about when you were 11? First of all, did you keep your letters? Did you guys keep your letters?
I did. I had. But
I've lost a lot of mine through moving and went through a flood. I did have some, and I went through a flood some years ago, and I lost a lot of papers, unfortunately, and photos.
How often did you guys write each other? I mean, because that's pretty...
Probably at the beginning, probably once every month, 6 weeks, because it took time to get there. That mail was slow.
Yeah.
Even though they said airplane at that point, it was a slow process. If I sent her a package or anything like that, it had to go by boat, and it could take a couple months to actually get there.
And what kind of things did you guys talk about or write about?
Well, for myself, from my article, the initial thing is, hi, I'm, Karen Hammer at the time, and, I live in such and such, and this is what I like to do, and just an initial introduction.
Where did you grow up, by the way? It don't sound like you grew up here.
No, I did not. I grew up on Long Island, New York.
All right.
And so you talked about yourself, your parents, where you lived, and then as it progressed, we grew up together. So we went through, like, in our school, middle school, then I went to high school, then I went to college, and you were able to talk about all these things. And then I got married, and with Annie, it was a little bit different because you had...
I was married young, and I had 4 children, and I had my first child at 21 and the last one at 28. So, and it was very different where I lived. So we talk about the little town I lived in.
What was the name of your town?
I lived in Leeton, which is I had to look up the statistics because it's so long ago. Leeton only had a very small population of only a few thousand when I was growing up, but now it's got 11,000, and it's I had to convert it to miles. It's where everyone knows where Sydney is on the east coast, so 340 miles southwest of Sydney.
Oh, okay. You're on the coast.
No, I am now, but 340 miles southwest of Sydney, it's inland.
Oh, okay.
So it was an irrigation area that I grew up in. So the school I went to was a public school, and then you go into high school. We were very different environments that we lived in, so and our school, that was interesting because as we went through school and college, they were called different things in Australia. So
I couldn't always tell where she was because she'd say it was like primary, and then she went first high school or something, and it was like I would sit in New York. What is she talking about? And
because it was first year high school, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year. Then they changed the system, so it became year 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and that was junior, senior, and it was a bit closer to what they were doing.
It was fun also because as we got into high school, and she doesn't really remember this, but she had a friend, and she had him write to me,
Mhm.
and he wrote in the slang. So he would put like the blokes went down, parentheses the guys, and he
Yeah.
would go through, and I had such a blast listening to this because if I just read straight through, I had no clue what the guy was talking about.
Yeah.
And Annie didn't talk like that. She might have said blokes, but she spoke so that I could understand everything.
Yeah.
And she didn't hear my New York accent through the mail, so she was fine. But
So as the years went on, and well, the first things Karen still got it actually. We changed to decimal currency on the 14th of February 1966. There was a ditty on the TV we all had to learn. So
Your money changed? Is that
change from pound, shillings, and pence to decimal currency.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So dollars and
Australian
cents.
dollar,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh.
So I got a little, it was such a big thing for kids. And 66, 15, 6, we would have been 16. I sent her a plastic boomerang that had all of the new coins in it.
Oh.
And she's still got
and I
it.
just
Yeah.
still have. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
down
so there were
for-
little things like that
Yeah.
that we would send. And then when I got married, I sent her a wedding invitation thinking she'd like to have it. And she told me recently that her dad was trying to figure out how he could get her over here for my wedding, to Australia for my wedding, which was very sweet of him. But
Yeah.
That was a little crazy back then.
Yeah,
I think they were changing Philippines and
airfares
doing
was
Yeah, it would've
airfares
been-
were just
Right.
very ridiculous back
But
then.
remember when Twister came out here, the
Yeah.
game? I sent one to her for Christmas because I didn't know if they had that over there, and I thought, she could play with her brothers and sisters or whatever she had.
And I'd
So-
forgotten that, but my daughter Sarah said, yeah, I remember that came from Karen, because they used to play it. So.
Did they have Twister in Australia?
Well, they did when I wasn't readily, they still do,
Uh-huh.
but wasn't readily available back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, all my kids
And then
played
things
that.
like television.
Yeah.
I was watching television. Ours was black and white, but we had television.
Mhm.
We never got a color TV until like 72. But Annie was talking about TVs, and she'd say they would cost like $1,000.
Oh,
And I
wow.
thought, oh my word.
Well, we
You know?
didn't have one in Leeton because until they put aerials on the Great Dividing Range, which is like the Appalachians come down the coast. Well, we've got that from Queensland all the way down to the whole east coast of Australia. It's got the Great Dividing Range, and until they put big antennas on that, we couldn't get it over
Right.
the range. And so it was in Leeton, in Australia in 56, but it didn't come to us. I'd left home,
There was
a
no-
closer town.
So you can imagine when she's telling me these things, how different it was
Yeah.
than where I grew up.
No gun
And
smoke.
Yeah.
No bonanza.
So it was interesting to learn all that, and living out in the rural area, I had no idea. And
Yeah.
then when she got married, her husband had a job, and I didn't really know what it was because I didn't understand the title.
Mhm.
And, then it was all different kinds of things, which
Mhm.
were fun because we filled in to each other.
Good.
We did lose track for a while.
Uh-huh.
Annie was already married. I got married. I moved from New York to Florida, and I was in the same house, but we lost track, and I had a son, and he's now 29 years old, and so we lost track for about, 26 years or so?
We figured out, because I didn't know about Matt, so we figured, I worked out it must have been around 80, what year was he born?
89.
Yeah, he was born in 89, and my mum got very ill a couple of years before that, and I was helping her,
Mhm.
and because we lived in Wagga Wagga then, I lived there for 27 years. Otherwise, I moved around all over the state. It was
That was
a
the other
nightmare.
problem.
That was a problem too. But when Mum died, and a couple of years after that, it was lots of things happened, and we worked out that's when we
Mhm.
didn't contact, and I'd moved a lot. So since the internet came out, we started to.
Yeah, that
Both
connects
of us
people.
started to look for each
Yeah.
other, but we didn't find. And
Yeah, I was having problem trying to look.
Mhm.
And I was trying to think now, where was she the last time? Because
So you never
along-
forgot her. You never forgot her.
Oh, no.
Well,
heavens, thought
we've
about
been
it all
trying
the
to
time.
find each other for a while.
Absolutely. And, I knew she had 4 children. I knew, a little bit, but trying to go through what they call like the white pages on the internet and then try to find other things. Well, unbeknownst to me, she had gone back to her maiden name too, which wasn't helping me.
Mhm.
And then she found me because I was still I told her the same old place. We're there 47 years now.
Yeah.
So-
And it was about 3 years ago. I'd been trying over the years, and I was just mucking. Well, first of all, my daughter rang me and said, "Mum, can you have a look in the photo container, because they're all in plastic crates because they went through a flood, and see if you can find this photo of me when I was little." And I found the photo, and there was a piece of paper, because I've lost in the flood all the letters and all that stuff. You can wash some photos, and there was a piece of paper that had her husband's name on it, Meredith, and that Spring Hill, Florida, and I'd forgotten the Spring Hill. So anyway, I thought, I started doing some. I looked up on Facebook. That didn't do anything. I wasn't looking up what she's got in Facebook, and it didn't come up.
Yeah.
So because I tried for quite a number of years, and then you get sick of it and you leave it go because you can't do anything.
That's how you find everybody. Because all the people you've lost in your life are on Facebook. So.
And I gave up on Facebook, and when I found this little piece of paper, it took me 3 weeks to find her. But I first of all found her dad's death notice, and I thought, Leonard Hammer. I thought, my God, Navy. I remembered he was in the Navy in the war, and then it had husband of the late, so I thought the mother's died, and he was 90, and it was 2002. And then it had loved father of Karen Wilcox, son-in-law Don Wilcox, and grandchildren Meredith and Matthew. And it hit me, well, that's got to be them, because all the names, and I knew they were both only children. So that gave me a bit more encouragement. And there was another business thing that I found too that had the same names in it, and it was still Spring Hill, Florida. So
you were still in Florida.
She was still in the same address.
House. Oh wow! Okay.
But I'd lost the address book because they'd gone in the flood.
Washed away.
Got washed away with mud. So I put in Meredith Wilcox, just thinking nothing will come up because she's probably Meredith Smith. Anyway, this opened Facebook page come up, and it was a girl with her colouring sitting on the top of a fire engine. And
is that your daughter?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
and I clicked on
firefighter.
I clicked on it, wondering what would happen because there wasn't a lot of stuff on it. And up came the photo, but there were comments under it. And someone made a comment, and this person called Karen Hammer Wilcox, both names, said, "That's my daughter, and I'm very proud of her." And
that's where you made your mistake, though. It was here she did the hyphenated name.
she didn't have it hyphenated, but it hadn't come up.
Oh.
I then clicked on her page, and it was open too. So I sent her a private message, and
what did you think when you saw that?
Unbelievable. I think I was here, and I was just,
I just
because
put a message.
after all
Karen,
those years,
this is Anne Beazley. You may remember me as Anne Lockley, but I think you are my long lost pen friend.
Yes.
And immediately she sent a message back. Oh my goodness, it is me. It is me. And that
Now,
started.
what year was that?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Okay, so you guys were lost to each other from the 80s, probably.
Yeah.
89, we think.
Yeah.
89.
Uh-huh.
89.
That's a busy time of your life, I guess it's understandable. But
Right.
that happened.
And then to find out,
A lot
my
of,
husband
lot
and
of
I are
things happened too.
retired school teachers,
Uh-huh.
and Annie's a retired psychologist, so we had similarities there.
Yeah.
Our personalities turned out to be very similar, which we always messaged each other. We hadn't spoken face to face until a week ago Friday. at
We
the actual
started by
airport.
sending each other a million emails because you do your long, you type
Yeah.
your
On
emails.
Facebook messages?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
on what, sorry?
On Facebook?
Facebook.
No, not to start off with. It was emails in the
Okay.
internet emails.
Okay,
Yeah.
regular emails.
Like mine
The
was
messaging.
Millian@yahoo.com. We sent a lot of emails
Right.
with photos to
But it was
start.
fun that
And
week
then
to
we started, we just send more. Once we got that out of the way and caught up with all the
Join the
years.
group now.
It was just like pick up where
Yeah.
we left off.
Oh, wow.
That was the best part,
Okay.
because as I say, she didn't know that I had 2 children. And I knew that she had 4, so we were able to say, like, when she would say their name, or I'd say, what happened with so-and-so. Because a few things I remembered. But no, it was just pick up where we left
I
off.
bet you guys had a lot to catch up on, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because professions,
Yeah.
family life, locations. Because she had moved, I had not. Except that we have a house in Florida and we have the house
So
here.
I retired when I was 64 and a half, so that's 6.5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I moved to the coast. So I've moved between Sydney and Newcastle, so I'm about 40 minutes drive up the motorway from Sydney.
Are you on the beach?
I'm 12 to 15 minutes from 12 on a good day,
Yeah.
15 or half an hour on a busy day.
Is it?
Last year when it was my 70th birthday, I just wanted a party with my children and grandchildren, and I didn't want any presents. I don't need it. Just let's have fun. Presents they made a cake that was all African animals, because that was my big thing, and they made me the cake, and the kids did the guitar and sang happy birthday, and then they gave me an envelope, and I thought, yes, it's just a card, that's just what I wanted, I don't want anything. But inside the card was one of our travel agents, I won't say their name, one of the travel shops. It was an envelope, and it had a gift card in it, and then when I opened up the actual birthday card, they'd all signed it, and it said, this gift card is for you. You have to spend it to go and visit Karen in America, and it expires in 2 years, so you've got to do it soon. I landed at Charlotte and changed planes. My bag went straight through, and they were waiting at Asheville. The plane was an hour late after waiting all these years. The plane was an hour late. So these beautiful people have been taking me every day. We go somewhere, and then we'll have.
She still wants to stay the next 2 weeks. That's why she's saying beautiful people.
Yeah.
Where have you? When did you get here? What day did you get here?
The 26th of August, wasn't it?
No, 30th, I think.
It was
It was
2 weeks
last
ago.
Friday.
Wasn't
Two
it?
weeks.
Yeah, it was a week ago Friday.
Yeah.
Last Friday.
Yeah.
And what have you seen? This is a good place for day trips. There's a lot to
Oh,
see
yeah.
around.
Yeah.
We took her over to Natural Tunnel, but we went during the week, and the ski lift doesn't work except on the weekends.
Oh, okay.
So we got to go back now because she
Yeah.
hasn't seen
We
that.
went over to the university because
Yeah.
I've got a grandson that's train mad, and I'm not quite as train mad as little Jack. And Jack's spoken to Don on the phone as well, and
Yeah, I'm a
the
train buff.
7-year-old, he just said, yeah.
Well, we showed her the movie Big Stone Gap, and then the very same day we took her over to Big Stone Gap
Oh,
so she
okay.
could see where it was filmed.
Yeah.
And
We
I
took her
love
to
all the
Natural
old buildings.
Huh?
We took her to Natural Tunnel, Sycamore Shoals, so she could see the museum.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went up to Watauga Dam, and they don't have covered bridges, so that was kind of fun to see also. We took her downtown Kingsport,
And near
and
the
we had to go to the
bridges,
haggle shop.
There's a whole heap of really old houses that have been really restored and really look lovely.
We went back to Asheville to take the tour and see that, and
The
then we went
trolley
over
tour.
to Hendersonville as well.
I loved Hendersonville. That was
And
really
yesterday-
loved that.
We went to lunch at Cheddar's in Johnson City, and we met up with 6 other people that I taught with in Florida. We're all retired, and we all come up here.
Wow.
So,
That's
okay.
Before
Not
I
too
go
far.
back, they're taking me over to Pigeon Forge.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Well, yeah, you got to see that.
we're going to stay at
Gotta go to
Gatlinburg for
Dollywood.
2 nights. And
And you
we're
got to
going
go over the
Dolly-
mountain. They're going to take you over the mountain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Tomorrow,
we-
Well,
actually,
tomorrow
we're
we're
doing
going to
Blue
Blue Ridge.
Oh
Yeah.
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 Now I don't want to give you any ideas, but what I like to do is go over the mountain, come down in Cherokee, and then get on the Blue Ridge there, and then take it to Asheville.
That's exactly what we're doing.
That's our day trip. We do that and
Oh,
come
yeah.
back around, do a
Yeah.
circle.
Well, she likes history, so we're going to stop in Cherokee and go to the museum there
Yeah.
for Native Americans. Go to Jonesboro, and we saw a play over there.
Oh, okay.
Guys
a
and dolls.
repertory theater.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that
Oh, yeah.
and that's what Karen was saying. It's like we're the same.
Yeah.
I love theatre. I
Yeah.
love community theatre. and I love nature and I love history, and I've just been overwhelmed with all of the above.
Oh, yeah, this is
Tuesday,
a
we
great
went to
place for all
storytelling.
We've got it all.
Yeah.
It's just
We heard
yeah.
the storyteller Bill Lepp on Tuesday, so we're trying to diversify a little bit. We still hope to get to the Secret City out in Oak Ridge.
Oh, okay.
Show her
yeah.
that.
See, Guys and Dolls was a community theatre over at Jonesboro too, and that was
Yeah.
Oh,
just, there was only seats, I counted the seats, the rows and up, and approximately 135 seats, and it's so intimate. And I think the storytelling was even
Smaller.
that's smaller.
Yeah.
So
And we took her to
you're right
Bristol.
there.
and let her stand in
Yeah.
both states at the same time.
I stood in the middle of the road. We waited
Yeah.
till the traffic had stopped, and I stood in. But I'll have to move to Virginia, not Tennessee, because the taxes they don't have the taxes in Virginia.
When you guys found each other again, where before you could only communicate once a month or once every few
Okay.
weeks, how often did you communicate?
Oh, we were sending emails all the
Yeah.
time to catch up.
Multiple times a day, or
The only thing
Oh,
is
no, no.
the time difference.
Yeah.
And so I would make a mistake and send something, and it would be like the middle of the night for her. So, and it's like, oops. But yeah, I mean, instantly. That's what Dawn comments. Annie will say something, and I'm instantly responding.
yeah,
Not the 2 weeks that it took for a letter before, but we're
Yeah.
instantaneous. And so
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
a huge change. Unfortunately, I'm going back. I think it's the Sunday, the 22nd. So I'll have 2 days a day.
Now, is it when you go back that you go back
I
the
lose
same
a
day that you lose here or something? It's funny because
On the way over,
Okay.
I arrived in Los Angeles 3 hours before I left.
Yeah.
yeah.
But going back, I'm going to lose the full day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll leave on the Sunday and I'll land on the Tuesday morning instead of. It took me 13 hours to come across. It's about 14 and a half because it's a headwind to go back.
Mhm.
So in that time, because of the time change, and you're going across the international
dateline.
date line, yeah. So I lose a day.
it's kind of fun to think about that.
Yeah.
So I land on the Tuesday morning, I think. No, because I'm in Vegas for a couple of days.
Yeah. So you got about a week and a day left here then.
Yeah.
We just highly recommend
Yeah.
that people find pen friends, whether they can find it through a company like our teachers did, or perhaps somebody that they know. And I really encourage the little kids and teachers, find another class or another school, have the students write back and forth. You learn so much. You learn how to write letters. You know, you have your greeting, your salutation, your punctuation in between. It's just a marvelous experience, and maybe they'd be fortunate enough to go 60 years like we have.
Yeah.
You know?
And that was my memory of why it started. It was part of our English to help us, because you start to learn letter writing about 5th and 6th class, and we had to write letters. I can remember clearly writing a letter to one of the girls in my class and put an envelope, addressed the envelope and put a stamp. And she only lived down the street because it's a small
I
community.
taught 10th grade and the kids couldn't address an envelope.
No, in the electronic age, they don't write
Yeah,
letters.
so
No.
and
No.
that's what it was about. It was about all those things Karen said about the punctuation, your grammar, and the salutation, and,
No
how you
emojis.
end it, and where you put the address. And
Yeah.
of course, that's all changed with computers.
Yeah.
But my 2 little grandchildren, who are 7 and 10, the others are old teenagers. They live down where I used to live. That's where my sons live. They love writing letters, and if someone sends them a card with a little letter in it, they just love it, and they'll make cards. But they're encouraged by their mum to do that. And the biggest thing is they've got a TV, but it doesn't get turned on when they wake up in the morning, and it doesn't get turned on after school. They've got other things. Most of the things they are involved in are outside. And they very rarely, it's a treat to watch a
That's
DVD
good.
with the whole family.
Yeah.
And they'll go to the movies. But they love, when I go, I've already sent those 2 little ones postcards. The teenagers, they don't care anymore about that. But these 2 little ones love, and you're writing, it's handwriting. So their mother will encourage them to
And we
send
even
a
wrote in
card.
cursive
Wow. Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
because in Florida they stopped teaching cursive.
Didn't
Oh,
they?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So It's real
Because
funny.
her handwriting now is very much how we were learnt to write, and it's writing's a lost art, as you know. Well, you go back and do a report, and it's on the kids learn computers.
Yeah, if I had to do it by hand, it'd take 4 days to do what I could do in an hour.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's why we don't go back to it, but it is a lost art.
Yeah.
Mm.